AI writing poems, composing music, yeah, we've seen it. But AI telling your kids bedtime stories.
Yeah.
Now, that's got to be a new one. I mean, is it brilliant or just asking for bedtime chaos? Now, let's dive into this.
Yeah, it's like AI is suddenly appearing everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And who have thought our kids' toy boxes would be next?
Right, so we're talking about this AI-powered teddy bear, Poe. And it's literally a teddy bear, the classic cuddly kind. But there's a technological twist inside.
Yeah, it's that kind of unexpected combo that really gets me. Like, it's a traditional teddy bear, but it can tell you these original bedtime stories. Not just like pre-programmed stuff. We're talking completely unique stories every
And
time.
the thing is, it's only $50. I mean,
Yeah.
how is that even possible?
So Poe uses two big AI technologies, ChatGPT and 11 Labs. You've probably heard of ChatGPT by now. It's trained on tons of text and code, and that's how Poe can actually make the stories.
Okay, so that's the story part. What about the telling part?
Well, that's where 11 Labs comes in. They've got these algorithms that turn text into speech, so they give Poe its voice. It's a little robotic sounding still, but it's getting better.
I see. So it's ChatGPT for the stories, 11 Labs for the voice.
Mm.
But honestly, my first thought was, wait a minute, can we trust an AI to tell our kids bedtime stories? Like, are they going to be appropriate?
I think it's a valid concern for sure, but it seems like Skyrocket, the company that makes Poe, has really thought about that. They're using filters and all sorts of stuff to make sure nothing inappropriate gets into the stories.
So it's like what? Parental controls, but for AI bedtime stories.
Yeah, basically. And I
Wow.
was reading about it, and it sounds like it's harder than you'd think. There are all these articles about how Skyrocket had to block certain words because Poe kept using them in weird ways. We'll get into that a bit later.
Okay, so we've got Poe making stories with ChatGPT, 11 Labs giving it a voice, and Skyrocket trying to make sure those stories are PG. But how does it actually work in practice?
Well, this is where it gets kind of interesting. The stories themselves are like this weird AI uncanny valley of literature.
Uncanny Valley of literature. Okay, now you got to explain that one.
So, like, Poe's stories make sense. They have a beginning, middle, and end, but something's just a little doff. The words Poe uses are kind of random, the plots are all over the place, and the characters, well, let's just say there's something else.
So like a bedtime story written by a robot who's trying way too hard to sound smart.
Pretty much. And it's because of how ChatGPT learns, It's got all this info, but it doesn't really get humor or storytelling the way we do.
So Poe's accidentally inventing a whole new genre of weird kidlit? That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Makes you wonder if this is just AI messing up or if it's a whole new kind of creativity, right? One that we don't even understand.
That's deep, man. But okay, back to the whole safety thing for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Skyrocket had to get creative to keep the stories appropriate. What did they have to do?
So there's a story about how Poe kept using the word cancer in these really weird ways.
Wait, seriously? Like how?
Like it would say stuff like, the brave knight fought against the cancer spreading through the kingdom.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Poe thought cancer just meant something bad and destructive, so it kept using it for everything.
Wow, so how'd they fix that?
They basically had to block the word cancer completely and teach Poe other ways to say things were bad. It's a whole other level of thinking when you're making AI for kids, that's for sure.
Totally. But even with those guardrails, parents are basically letting Poe just go wild with the stories, right?
Mm.
Which leads to the big question, what's it actually like having Poe in your home? Well, I thought, who better to ask than my kids, right? So I let my 5 and 8-year-old have a go with Poe. And, well, let's just say it was interesting.
I bet. What kind of stories did they get Poe to come up with?
So my 8-year-old, he's all about robots right now. So naturally, he wanted a story about a robot who was also a chef. And Poe actually made it work. It was this whole thing about galactic space pizza.
See, that's Poe for you. Give it a weird prompt and it just rolls with it.
Exactly. And the story itself, it wasn't like good, but it was weirdly entertaining. My son was so into it, and he kept asking Poe about all the details of the space pizza.
Sounds like Poe's vocabulary is rubbing off on him, too. What about your younger one?
Oh man, he was all over the place. Dinosaurs playing video games, a teddy bear who went on adventures with a talking toothbrush, you name it.
And the stories themselves, as out there as the prompts.
Completely. But here's the thing, they were both so engaged. Like, they weren't just listening, they were interrupting, adding their own ideas, laughing at all the weird stuff Poe came up with. It was like Poe was another kid in the room, just bouncing ideas back and forth.
That's really important because it shows how these AI toys aren't trying to replace anything. It's a whole new way of playing.
Yeah, and even though Poe isn't perfect, that voice is still a little rough, it really makes you wonder what's next. If a $50 teddy bear can do all this now, what about in 5 years? 10 years.
It's amazing to think about. And it's not just toys either. Poe's just one example. AI is popping up everywhere these days. It's not science fiction anymore, it's here.
So what's the verdict then? Is an AI teddy bear a dream come true or a recipe for disaster?
I don't know about all that, but it's definitely got people talking and thinking, which is never a bad thing.
That's for sure. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of AI bedtime stories. What do you think? Is an AI teddy bear something you'd ever bring home? Let us know. And until next time, keep an open mind and stay curious, because who knows what incredible things AI will come up with next.